For this video, we're going to look at how to find the domain of f of x is equal to the square root of x plus 9. So when you look at this problem, you think, okay, domain, that's all the possible x values. We'll just cast out anything that's undefined or anything that would give us an imaginary number. And that's specifically what we have to worry about in a case where we have a radical and we have a variable underneath that radical. We have to say, okay, we have to throw out all possible things that would allow us to have a negative number under this square root. So when we're talking about domain and you have a square root with a radical under it, you want to be sure what is beneath it is going to be positive or equal to 0. Or another way of expressing that is you want it to be greater than or equal to 0, because you only have three options: greater than 0, equal to 0, or less than 0. In other words, positive, 0, or negative. And the only thing we don't want to happen is to have a square root where we have a negative number under that square root. So long story short, and that's kind of the theory behind it, all you have to do for a problem like this is just take away the square root and write whatever is underneath that square root. So in this case, x plus 9, and just set it to where it's greater than or equal to 0. It's perfectly okay to have 0 under a square root because the square root of 0 is 0. We just don't want any negative numbers. Now we have an inequality, and we want to isolate the x on one side of this inequality. So to do so, we're just going to subtract 9 from both sides. It's going to cancel out the 9 on the left-hand side, and we're going to get x is greater than or equal to negative 9. And that's it. That's going to be our solution set. In other words, any x values that are greater than or equal to negative 9 are not going to be imaginary numbers, or are not going to lead to imaginary numbers. So therefore, we're going to include them in the domain of our real numbers that we're interested in. Now, typically what you want to do is you don't want to leave it as an inequality. Typically, you want to translate this into interval notation. And so we want everything bigger than or equal to negative 9. So it's going to be everything from negative 9 all the way to infinity, because we want bigger than that. Of course, we want to put a parenthesis around infinity, or negative infinity as always, and we're going to put a bracket around the negative 9. And the reason for that is because we have this equal to bar right here. If you didn't have the equal to bar, then it would just be a parenthesis around the negative 9, and then that would be your answer. So that's it. Our answer in interval notation is everything from negative 9, including negative 9, all the way to positive infinity.